Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
Welcome to the lab. Happy Monday to you. It is February 21st, 2022. One day away from 2/2/22. Oh, yeah. Good to be here. Happy Monday. Be happy it's Monday and that we have another day to get things right, to improve, to be better. You know, all that fun stuff. It's good to be here. It is good to be here. And good to see you. We'll start the show. I wanted to read a comment that I got, and this is actually extremely funny. And when I say extremely funny, it's not funny at all, but I mean, it is. So, you know, when I talk on here about my dog, a lot of it's tongue in cheek. I'm not going to deny that he's not a pain, that he has his issues and that he's working on those issues, that we're training him diligently, that he's very young still, you know, all those things. But when you kind of, you know, I wouldn't say I make it worse than it is, because it's not worse. But, you know, I embellish a little, like I act like it bothers me more than it does, and he doesn't bother me at all. Completely happy with the little man's progress, and you know, whatever. But I'm telling you, like, I've told you guys this before. When you open up about those kind of things and you say, hey, you know, my dog's a pain. He pees everywhere. He does this, he does that. You know, it is what it is. It happens. It's kind of normal. But, and you know, a lot of people send suggestions on what should be done, what I should do, or you know, and that's all nice and good, and I appreciate all of that. But then I get this one. This is my favorite, by far my favorite message about me and my dog. Let me get a sip of this coffee real quick, because she's a doozy. When the dog is smarter than the human, there are issues about the human, not the dog. I do animal rescue. Mostly dogs now. Foster 88 and 9 months, 1 year. In my foster time, many require retraining because of lack of never taught or abuse. Those first is gaining trust, then other training. Thank you. I appreciate your concern and telling me that a 5-month-old puppy is smarter than me. You know what, though? He's not smarter than me, and I'll tell you why. He can't open a door. He can't feed himself. He can't read. Whatever. He's not smarter than me. Whatever. Just because he bats his little eye, he's not smarter than me. I'm not going to take that sitting down. I'm not going to take I'm not going to take that sitting down. I'm smarter than the dog. I am smarter than the dog. There's no there's no doubt that I am smarter than him. And I'll tell you why I'm smarter than him. I'll give you a couple reasons. First and foremost, I don't eat my own crap. Second, I have thumbs and he doesn't. I can make a fire. I can email. Otis cannot email. Okay. So whatever. Whatever, dude. Yeah. So just for the record, Otis is not, and I will repeat this again, Otis is not smarter than me. I don't care what you say. You're not even going to hurt my feelings with it because it's not true. We're close. We're close. He's not dumb, but he's, not smarter than me. And we don't have a human issue. We have a dog issue. I'm not the one peeing in the house. I'm not the one who tore up my grandmother's Bible. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Bet you didn't know that, huh? I bet you didn't know that before you sent that message. He chewed up my grandma's Bible that was given to her by the pastor after my grandpa had passed away. I know it's not funny, but it is funny because he's an idiot. And to get him off the hook, I had to tell my grandmother that he was only filling himself with the word of God because she was about to send him straight to heaven. And so who's smarter now? I expect an apology by the end of the day, but I won't hold my breath. Never been any good at that anyway. That's right. That's right. He chewed Gammy's Bible. And it wasn't the sides of it either. It was like he had it open and he was like ripping the paper out. Okay. So, whatever. I mean, I saved his life. I'm not stupid enough to chew on my grandma's Bible given to her by the pastor after her husband died. And that's how I know I'm smarter. I'm smarter than him. I am so much smarter than him. Don't let anybody tell you any different. I say so much smarter. I'm a little smarter than him, but not a lot. Anyway, yeah, I expect a retraction. Can I get a retraction, please? Retraction. I'll take that retraction right now. Let me read you that one more time, and then we'll move on because I'm burning on it a little bit. When the dog is smarter than the human, I have a decent IQ, I think. There are issues. Yeah, that's true. If a dog is smarter than a human, that's a major issue for the human. But she says, or he, I don't even know. There are issues about the human, not dog. Yeah? When was the last time I chewed up a Bible? I do animal rescue. Thank you for your service. Foster 88, 9 months. That's a great accomplishment. Anyway. Whatever, dude. I just like somebody I got another comment that was a funny one too was why does it take you so long to start your show? It's really annoying. All right, then watch it on replay and fast forward through the beginning, dude. I gotta like, yeah, he is peeing holy water now. He is. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's messed up because I would never say that to somebody. And I do expect that retraction by the end of the day. But I'm like I said, I'm not gonna hold my breath. Lisa Avery says in the store, I thumbed through a train your dog book. This is funny. I like this. Train your dog book. Saw you must win. Never let them win at tug of war. You must win every time. I put the book back. I like that. Now that's funny. Now that's funny. Spider ceiling. 3 rescue dogs. Okay, I was thinking. Yeah, whatever, dude. Like it's yeah, somebody's like, how long does it take you? Why does it take you so long to start your show? Well, first and foremost, try to let people get into the room. I start talking when there's 2 people in here. I feel like I'm in my living room. Okay, fine. So I give it a minute, and then like every show that's ever been on the air has an intro. I don't just click go. I actually work on my show and I produce my own show. I pulled clips for my own show. I need some time to set up for my show. When I strap in in the booth, I have to have at least a minute, if not more, to make sure everything is working fine. There's your answer. There you go. Bam. Bam. You actually interact with most of us. Most creators ignore the chat. Well, look, you guys are the ones that watch the show. It would be a shame to do that. And yeah, Otis needs. No, man, Otis is flying high. I like the music at the beginning. Thank you. Otis needs to go to confession. Now, yeah, some of the stuff's funny and it's okay. It is like I don't really care that much, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and Kathy, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you waiting patiently for me to come on. And we do have a second show today. Dude, what are you looking at? I got a screen up here that I have to look at. Sorry. Where there's a doggy head, Jesus loves all. Mm-hmm. That's true. I agree. And action. Now, welcome again to the lab. That was my rant, my early morning rant. I feel much, much better now. Now let's go ahead and get to the topics at hand. Now, there are 2 specific issues that I want to talk about today, or situations that I want to talk about this morning that we didn't get to touch on very much last week. And one being the Serenity McKinney story. And let's go ahead and listen to clip 1, page 1 in orange. A murder investigation is underway after a multi-agency search led to the discovery of missing 4-year-old's body. Serenity Ann McKinney of Shelby County was last seen December 24th, 2020, and was reported missing on January 31st, 2021. Around 2 p.m. on Friday, detectives found the 4-year-old's body in a wooded area near the 1300th block of Skyview Road in West Point near the Jefferson-Bullitt County line, according to Kentucky State Police. The victim's body was taken to the Kentucky Medical Examiner's Office in Louisville by the Bullitt County Coroner's Office, and an autopsy was scheduled for Saturday morning. Serenity's mother, 21-year-old Catherine McKinney of Shepherdsville, and her boyfriend, 26-year-old Dakota Hill of Shepherdsville, have been charged with murder and abuse of a corpse. Both McKinney and Hill are in custody at Shelby County Detention Center after being charged for custodial interference by the SCSO. McKinney and Hill were arrested last week in Kansas before being extradited back to Kentucky. And so, there's not really a lot to say about these people except I hope that they get the needle, because if they're found guilty of this crime, it's inhumane, inexcusable, and it sounds like they were moving her little body after she had perished. That is the mother on the right, the boyfriend, I don't believe he is related to the young Serenity. And although it's a tough situation where a resolution has come, and it's not the resolution that any of us had hoped for, it is unfortunately an ending to that story. And fly high, little Serenity, and may God take care of you, and may God take care of these piles of donkey crap, for better, I don't know, donkey crap may be too good for them. It's been a year and they got away with this for quite some time. It's unthinkable. Some of the things, when we talk about these kind of things, you want there to be a good resolution, and a lot of times there's not a good ending to these situations, because when a child goes missing, and they're gone for any significant amount of time, you always fear the worst. You hope for the best, fear the worst. And in this case, the worst has come true. And now justice must be served. The hammer must come down on these folks. And they, not only should they never see the light of day, I hope that their punishment is harsh, strict, and swift. It is a terrible, terrible situation. And she didn't deserve that. I would prefer the death penalty, but a lot of people don't, I'm pro death penalty, especially for people like this. If you can prove that they did this, why not? What good are they do? Not only do they not do good for the world, they do bad for the world. They do things that are unthinkable. And not only have they been charged with murder, they've also been charged with tampering with a corpse, which is also a major felony. And it's sickening. And I truly, 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 truly hope justice is served in this situation. And Serenity, I'm sorry that your parent, your mother especially, did this. If it comes out that, and I'm guessing that, I'm guessing that they got the right person. It's just what a terrible situation that is. And let's move on to the next topic. A child who was reported missing in 2019 when she was 4 years old was found hidden under a wooden staircase with her non-custodial mother in a home officials had visited several times while investigating her disappearance, authorities said. The child, Paislee Soltis, now 6, was reported missing July 13th, 2019, from Cayuga Heights, a village on the outskirts of Ithaca, New York. At the time, she was believed to have been abducted by her non-custodial parents, Kimberly Cooper and Kirk Soltis Jr. Police said in a news release. Paislee and her mother were found Monday when investigators spotted a pair of tiny feet in a secret space under wooden steps leading to a basement. Quote, "We should all wait until the facts come out," said Carol K. Morgan, who represents Cooper. "Everyone should be patient before they draw their own conclusions." In the basement of the house, detectives searching for the girl found an apartment including a bedroom with Paislee's name on the wall. The bed appeared to have been slept in. Quote, "Our officers asked, 'Is she here?' And they denied that anybody was living in that house, in that particular room," the chief said in an interview. They said they had set up a room for her like that in the event that Paislee should ever return. Throughout the 2.5-year investigation, authorities received several tips in the Socrates area where the child was eventually located. But each time, the residents denied knowing anything about the girl's whereabouts. Socrates is about 160 miles east of Cayuga Heights. "We are bothered by the fact that this went on for 2 years, the chief said. They lied to us for 2 years, including the father stating that he had no idea where his daughter was. On several occasions, investigators were allowed into the home without a warrant, but they were given limited access by Kirk Soltis Jr. and Kirk Soltis Sr. That limited access changed Monday when police received information the child was being hidden and got a warrant for the home. Officers arrived outside the house about 4 p.m. to ensure that no one left. Police then executed the warrant a little later after 8 p.m., the chief said. The homeowner denied knowing the girl's whereabouts, saying he had not seen her since she was reported missing in 2009. An hour into the search, one detective noticed the steps leading to the basement were oddly constructed. The detective, Eric Thiel, pointed a flashlight through a crack in the wooden steps and saw what seemed to be a blanket. Quote, "There was something about the staircase that bothered him. As officers began to pull the stairs apart," Singer said, "the silence was eerie. The child never made a sound. Kimberly never made a sound," Singer said. "The question that needs to be answered is what she was told by her parents that would keep her so still and quiet while the cops are walking up and down the steps while they're taking the steps apart," Singer added. Investigators removed several of the steps. That is when detectives saw a pair of tiny feet. A door in Paislee's basement room opened onto a short hallway that led directly to the secret compartment under the stairs, about 3 to 4 feet away. The child and her abductor, Kimberly Cooper, were found hiding in the dark and wet enclosure, says the police report. Authorities believe Cooper and the child had been staying at the home since they disappeared in 2019, adding that the staircase appeared to have been built to hide them both. Quote, "It's our opinion that the location was used probably each and every time that we sent an officer to the residence," Singer said. Police arrested Cooper and Soltis Jr., the girl's biological parents, as well as Soltis Sr. Cooper was charged with 2 misdemeanors of custodial interference in the 2nd degree and endangering the welfare of a child, and remains in jail because of a prior arrest warrant issued through family court, according to the police. Kirk Soltis Jr. and Kirk Soltis Sr. were charged with custodial interference in the 1st degree, a felony, and endangering the welfare of a child, a misdemeanor. Both were arraigned and released on their own recognizance. Police said all 3 defendants were ordered by the court to stay away from the child. Cooper, who made bail, and the 2 men who appeared in court on Wednesday. The case for the men were adjourned to later this month. Their lawyers declined comment. Cooper will be back in court on March 2nd. The child was found to be in good health and released to her legal guardian and reunited with her older sister, police said. On Tuesday, detectives met with the family that has the child, and she was in very good spirits, the chief said. The young girl was upset and was concerned when police first rescued her, Singer said. That begs the question, what was the child told about the police and, why the police would come and take her? That's what I'm concerned about. And I'm sure that when she saw several of our officers who were heavily armed, that was something traumatizing to the child. Before she was released to her legal guardian, detectives drove the girl to police headquarters, in part so medics could examine her. As they drove, she saw a McDonald's and recalled having some a long time ago, the chief said. So the detectives turned the car around and went to the drive-thru at the McDonald's, picked her up a Happy Meal, and brought her back to the headquarters, and she was fine after that, the chief added. An investigation is ongoing, police said. We don't know what Paislee lived through for the past 2 years, and we don't know what kind of damage may have been done because of the conditions she had to live under. That's courtesy of Jessica Prater and Kimberly Westhoff, a CNN Northeast affiliate. So if you hear there at the end, Kimberly Cooper, sorry, I'm very good at this. Kimberly Cooper on the left, the bio mother. So these two, the father and son, were released on their own recognizance. Kimberly makes bail. So they're all out. All of them are out. After lying to the police for 2.5 years for kidnapping a child, these people are walking, and the court says, well, you know what? Don't have contact with this child. Don't have contact with this child. Don't have contact with this child. They stole the little girl. They put her under some stairs. You think that they care what your court says? They lie to police every day for 2.5 years. They shoved a little girl under a staircase and told her to be quiet while the police have searched that house many times. And at the same time, they're telling her not to make a sound. They probably told her some crazy story that police are evil and that they're coming to get you, so just be quiet. And I got to ask, New York, what kind of law do you have going on there where it's okay to steal a child, hide that, get granted bail, released without bail? Basically, they wrote you a ticket like it's a traffic stop. But it's not a traffic stop. It's not a traffic stop. It's kidnapping, child endangerment. These are the kind of what is going to deter people from committing these kind of crimes when they're slapped on the wrist? In what world is it a good idea to let these three clowns walk the streets? Because I'm struggling to find a good reason why these people aren't stuffed in a cell right now. And you think that they care what you say? Oh, stay away from her. They were told to stay away from her before. And guess what? They kidnapped her and shoved her under a staircase. Told her, be quiet. Don't want the bad police to come get you. So I don't know. Look, I'm not a lawmaker. I'm not a congressman. I'm not a governor. I'm not anything. But I am smarter than my own dog. And I'm smart enough to know that these three people all deserve at least 20 years. At least. I don't care what you do with them. Just get them off the street. You want to make are they wacko? Fine, I don't care. Put them somewhere else. They stole a child, a little 4-year-old girl, and shoved her under the stairs. And every time they would hide her. Be quiet. Don't move. I don't care what you do to these people. Just get them out of here. The fact of the matter is that this little girl has been returned to her proper home, but her abductors and kidnappers also got to go to their home and told to stay away. 2 of them were just released. 1 made bail, and then they get to go home and be good. Be good. Don't do that no more. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't steal children and hide them under. You guys got to know better than that. I'm really baffled on this one. And I'm really happy and glad. I am so glad that this young lady, this young girl, Paislee, was found alive and returned to the proper home. And police have suspected for a long time that they were a part of this. And they have searched their house before. And guess what? They're out. They lied to the police for 2 years. The police came in and searched the house meticulously. I get not pulling the stairs apart, but now you would think that that's something that's going to be, taught and put into practice. Not that I don't know if it is or not, but I would sure hope that it's a learning lesson. But it's not the cops' fault. They're not the ones that shoved this little girl under a staircase with a little bed. I mean, look at this. Look at this thing. This is where the lady slept. I said lady. Young girl slept. And the lady, Kim, would hide with her, telling her to stay quiet. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
It's hard not to say any F's and stuff. You don't want to say any F's and stuff, but it's hard not to say any F's and stuff, right? Because that's what these people, they're F's and stuff. It's beyond comprehension that these people are walking around. It's bothersome, to say the least. And the fact is that the laws are not made to protect these children because her abductors are free, pending whatever. And it's not like they're just accused of doing this. They found the young girl under the stairs. Hello? They found the girl in the house. And you're going to say you should come back next month. Here's your summons. No. They need to return the young girl to her proper home and keep these monsters off the street, how is the custodial parent of Paislee not just terrified? Still, how is she not terrified? Can somebody explain to me what sense any of this makes? Because the laws are now protecting the criminals and not the victims. And not only are they're not just victims, they're child victims. They're little children. And our court system isn't protecting her. Can you imagine the way those police felt after doing all that work and rescuing that young lady, to see these three jackasses out on the street almost immediately? What must that feel like as a police officer to do that job, to get lied to over and over and over, and then they're released, 2 without bail, 1 with, the same day? And the police who are doing their due diligence, who have showed up there several times, searched for hours and hours in that house. And guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. Lily says, I was kidnapped by my non-custodial parent. I was terrified of police. And to this day, I'm afraid to make noise or take up space. It's a struggle. I'm very sorry to hear that. That's a very, very awful thing. It is awful. It is really troubling when this, I mean, look what this little girl was sleeping. And the cops have been there so many different times. So many different times. And nothing. They hid her. They fooled the cops. And while the cops maintained their due diligence and went back and searched again and found her, take her to McDonald's. Take her to go get checked out. She's fine. She's healthy. That's all well and good. And I'm glad. But then what ends up happening is that these 3 felons, these monsters who are in custody of this missing child, are allowed the freedom that you and I are also afforded. And I've never kidnapped a kid. I've seen harsher punishments for DUIs. I've seen harsher punishments for marijuana charges. I've seen harsher punishments for egging someone's house. And they stole a kid and shoved her under, and when I say shove, I mean shoved under a staircase, made to lay down and be quiet while the scary policemen search for her. And somebody somewhere along the way thought that this was a good idea. That this was a good idea to let them walk out of jail. 2 of them on their own, 1 of them with bail. Oh my God in heaven, we are deteriorating as a society when it comes to the judicial system and our children. The kids are being set aside. They're collateral damage. It is what it is. We'll deal with it later. Here's your ticket. Come back to court. We'll talk about it. How's that? Well, I don't think that's very good. Matter of fact, I find it disturbing. I find it offensive. I find it despicable. And yet, lawmakers think that this is an acceptable system. In what world is this an acceptable system? It's not that they're just being accused of something. They found the young girl in the house under the stairs. It's a weird time because there's all this stuff out there about protecting children and doing what's right. And, um, you know, great police work is being done, but the system is releasing them. And I know that New York has made laws to where, violent crime, it's really hard to get locked up if you're not committing what's called a violent crime. And if you ask me, a violent crime is kidnapping a child and putting them under the steps or putting them under the stairs in the house and hiding them from the police. Um, to me, that's violent. Maybe I have a miss, maybe I'm missing something here. Uh, maybe it's okay. Like they think it's okay because that was her mother. But it's not okay because she wasn't allowed to have the kid and stole the kid. And there's a reason that she wasn't allowed to have the kid. But this is a violent crime. I'm confused by the laws in each state, and I'm not 100% familiar. Some states have much better laws than others. Um, some are very old, outdated laws, and some are more modern and are better. But the one thing that's always kind of slipped through the cracks are children, because we rely so much on parents to be normal and take care of their children the way that they're supposed to. The fact that in society we have to have people who look over these parents' shoulders to make sure that they treat their children right, it by my definition is insane, because animals in the wild who will eventually kill their own child when they get older and old enough to challenge them, um, take care of their little children way better than humans. By ratio, they do not harm their own children. Matter of fact, you get near a baby bear and mom's around, she'll kill you. Don't touch her. Don't touch. I think that it's time that we examine these laws. Lisa Bennett, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate that very much. Terry G to G as well. Thank you very much. Now, what we're dealing with is monsters being released. And what do? Well, if you tuned into Chris McDonough's show last night, his live show, both shows fantastic, by the way. Shout out to Chris. The McFluffinator strikes again. He does it. He does a great job. And if you listen to his show last night, he gave tips on how to help these kind of situations, teaching your children what to do. And it's a damn shame. And when I say damn shame, I wanted to say something else.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
It's a shame that we even have to do this, but we do. That's what's terrible about this. The fact of the matter is we have to do this and teach our kids that there are predators out there. What do you think that does for their psyche? But they have to know it, right? Of course they do. Of course they have to know it. Yeah, can I use your hands out of your pockets, Chief? Hey, friendly looking boomer. Can I use your phone to call my dad? Hey, Chief, why don't you take your hands out of your pockets? That's right. Step in front of the car. All right. Lean against my bumpers. Give me the numbers. I'll hit it up. Don't put your hands in your pockets. I'll donkey slap you. That was a good story. That's a great story. Hey, hey, Dills, can you get my nightstick? Somebody needs a little tuning ups over here. Turn the camera off, K-Dogs. He's right, though. You never know. You never know who you're dealing with. He says this person's 17, 18 years old. I've seen 17, 18 years old, 18-year-old kids that kill with the best of them. There's a kid in Texas right now on trial, or getting ready to go on trial, for five murders over the course of 2 years. He's 19 years old. 19 years old. He'll face the death penalty. He's in Houston. You can't trust strangers. Those days are long gone. I don't know if you really ever could. My grandparents used to tell me all the time about how they'd go hitchhiking and stuff, or how it was okay to pick up a hitchhiker. I would never pick up a hitchhiker. First of all, they probably smell. Second of all, they scare me. I mean, not necessarily scare me, but I don't want somebody in my car that I don't know from the side of the road. But apparently that was a thing that you could do back in the day, was pick people up who were hitchhiking. As foreign as that is to me today, and it is foreign to me, it was normal. How is normal? I don't know. But I'm just not going to do it. It's a perfect ratio today. Perfect ice. I got to shout them out. Cool beans. The perfect ice to coffee ratio. Flat lid. Don't hit me with the domer lid. I got a problem with the dome lid. Nice straw. Good color. Plastic. Sorry, turtle. Good length. good crispness. It's good. It was good. They did really good. I wanted to shout them out on that. Yeah. Cool beans. That's fantastic stuff. Don't take people around your kids. I used to pick up people, but this day and time, no way. Yeah, apparently it was a really common thing to do back in the day, but now how can you just give people rides when people like this are walking around? She wasn't allowed to have her kid for a reason. Or you got people like this walking around. What in the world would possess somebody to do this? I'm telling you, why does this stuff even happen? I don't like the excuse that, well, there's just so many people in the world. There's so many crazy people in the world. And then we all have a major problem with CPS who can't keep up with this because there's so many nasty
Don't say any F's and stuff.
parents out there that don't take care of their kids. And we leave it up to government workers, state workers to take care of that kind of stuff for us. And I don't think that that's proper. And then we blame CPS for when something happens to a child. Let's blame the parents. Let's blame the parents. These people are charged with murder of a little girl. And if CPS was involved, they have to follow protocols too. They can't, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Josh, would you say the USA is understaffed across the board? Yeah, in a major way. In a major way. Josh, I believe there are more sick people out there than there out here than there are normal people. Probably always been like that, but since we have the internet, I think we just see it more. There's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of good people out there. But I understand what you're saying. I hate to say it, but a lot of times CPS hassles good parents, yet let terrible parents off. Look, the system's not perfect. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. They get it wrong. They get it wrong, but off topic, Starbucks gave me my first paper straw ever. So gross. Oh, Starbucks. Enough with the paper straws. That's messed up. Paper straws. The fact that people think that paper straws work. It's just gotta be plastic, man. We can recycle. The punishments for these crimes need to be more harsh. The punishments for these crimes need to stick. They need to make examples out of people. And maybe maybe it may detour one or two. Maybe. Anything's better than this, right? Anything's better than what's going on. I am so happy that this young lady that was down here was found alive, but this young lady was not. And there's a lot more of the being not found in good health and good spirits than the other way around. And we celebrate these wins, and I would call this a win. Kid goes missing for 2.5 years. The statistics aren't good, but we have a win finally. But then it just gets overshadowed by all the other terrible things that are going on. It's sickening. Why do these things just continually happen? And there's no answer to that question other than there's just there's just such a. Can you imagine taking a little child and putting them under the stairs? You imagine that? Don't move. Don't say nothing. Boogeyman's going to come get you, or whatever the hell they say to him. Sorry for the H word.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
That's good. We're not going to say any F's and stuff. No F's and stuff, all right? It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And who really knows? Who really knows what's going to happen with legislation and stuff? But I tell you that the courts have to get more serious about protecting children, being able to impose harsher laws on child crimes. Because if you don't think that essaying a little child is almost equivalent to killing them, it kills their soul. It takes a piece away from them. I don't care who you are. If that's ever happened to you as a child, you lost innocence. You lost your blindness to the world. And these people get 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. How is that normal? How is that an acceptable punishment? In what world? In what world is that acceptable? We are setting our children up for a lifetime of anxiety and failure and ruined relationships, emotional instability. And we slap these offenders on the wrist. We put them on a website because they're too sick to stay away from kids. So it's on us to go look at the website to find out what freaks are in our neighborhood that want to do bad things. And then when they do the bad things, they go to jail for like 2 years. So 2 years for stealing a child's soul from them, for doing unspeakable things, it should be equivalent to murder. Child crimes deserve a harsher punishment. These people should never see the light of day. It's a strain on the system. Do you know how much money our government, local and federal, waste? You should see some of the programs that the government funds and how much money is really used in those programs. We can afford a couple more pedo prisons. I hear Dubai's got a couple islands for sale. Really ravenous sharks are off on the side. It's a struggle. But I just don't understand how we can waste all this money. And yet the one part that we're lacking is with child protective services, is with adequate housing for sickos. Let's lock them up, throw away the key, and move on. When does it stop? It won't, unless you look. I know that this is nuts to say, but I'm telling you that if you were to take a child predator and you were to tar and feather them in a public square, and then, whatever after that, and that was the punishment. And then you flogged them for an hour, and then threw them in prison for 20 years with a bunch of other offenders. As a matter of fact, I think that they should just all be thrown into general pop, survival of the fittest. I don't care what happens to them. You shouldn't care what happens to them either. If you're not them, you shouldn't care what happens. But they should all be in general population, and they shouldn't be protected because they weren't protecting children. So they can fend for themselves in my book. And then what happens from there is, Rikers Island, chemical castration. Look, man, I'm all for it. No, you can't fix them. I don't know anybody that's ever been fixed from something like that. And I wouldn't trust anybody that says that they were fixed from something like that. It's not how it works. It's just not how it works. I would rather my world be free of them. You and me both. Sherry, you and me both. Thank you for tuning into The Lab. I'm your host. We'll be back tonight with an all-new show. Thank you for joining me this morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Enjoy your coffee. Lisa, thank you so much for that super chat, for the super sticker. It's always appreciated. Thank you very much for supporting. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you for being here.
Don't say any absent stuff. Don't say any absent stuff.